Okay, so welcome to the Node.js Next 10 team meeting for February 11th, 2021. First time at our new time, so maybe a few people will take a little while to get to be aware of that. But let's look at the issues that were the things that were tagged in the agenda. So let me find that. So first of all, also here is the agenda document. I'll put that in the chat for people to add themselves to. Okay. Right. So the next thing then is, before we get started, if there's anybody has any announcements that they'd like to share. No announcements? Okay, so we can move on to the list of things we had on the agenda. Last time we spent a fair amount of time talking about the next 10 years for collaborators. That was issue number 16. In that case, we drove a fun retro board. I think Mary was kind of driving that discussion, so maybe we should defer that one until a meeting where she could make it before we sort of go into the next steps. So we could go to our other agenda item, which was the brainstorming on the key technical areas. So let's just take a quick look there. Right, so I think last time, Darcy, we talked about you creating another copy of this, right? Which I think you did, because I remember you.
Yeah, I think I shared it in a Slack group, but I don't know if I actually posted it back to the issue itself. I'm not sure if that same one. I can just double check if those are the same.
Yeah, if you could find that one, and then maybe we can post it to the issue, because.
Hey, Michael, I'm just.
Yep.
I think Gene wants to here and needs to be promoted or something. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, promoting. Oh, come on, promote. Okay. Okay, so I guess Darcy, you're looking for that issue, right?
Yeah, so I found it.
Okay.
I pasted it into chat if you want to add it to the docs,
yes,
and
okay.
I'll just add it to the issue itself. And if I thought we were maybe going to try to disseminate it through marketing somehow, or.
Right, yeah, so that's what I thought we should talk about too. So new retro to get additional feedback. Oops, did I get I didn't copy that one correctly. Maybe I got two links there. Right, so that's just the duplicate of what we had already, right?
Yep, but it's anybody should be able to add to it.
Right.
As usual.
But kind of we want to now make sure we get more people adding to it. Is there any way for us to tell who and like how many people have contributed, or?
Let me just double check.
The promote didn't seem to work, just as a heads up.
Okay. That work this time?
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I guess, Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, how would we tell if other people have actually contributed or not? And
Did we
So we
put this
can
out?
show cards offers.
Did
I
we?
don't
Not
think we have yet,
Okay.
but I'm just wondering once we do, whether we can tell, right?
So we can turn on showing card authors.
Okay.
But and since like that won't, I don't believe that Go is retroactively applied. Oh, it's only for me and a couple other folks. So yeah, I would. I don't know if maybe we can just take a note of the current status, and I think
Sure, I guess
anonymous
we have
feedback
the
is the best, right?
picture. We have the picture in the last one in the issue, right?
Right.
So if this looks the same, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we need to share this out. So I guess one thought was we could actually make it a discussion on the Node.js repo. I don't know if other people have other suggestions of how to sort of share and get collaborators from and get input from the group that we think can give us some good ideas.
How wide were we thinking of sharing this?
I guess that's part of the discussion here too, is like how broad the group do we want to go to start with? Do we want to put it out to everybody, the Node collaborators, or?
I mean, if we're putting it out on the Twitter account, it's gonna be that's as wide a net as possible.
Yep.
So.
And as
I'm
messy.
excited by that. Yeah, but that's exciting. Like we'll see if people actually use it, if they can.
For sure on this one, it'd be nice if we could just compose like a little bit of copy. Like I can do it one-on-one with someone, but just like making sure we're saying what we want people to do in a concise way. Can people add to this, Darcy? Like, can we just enable voting without adding, or do we want to let people add?
Well, I think we want to let people add.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just about like, voting on what we've already decided. It was about like, hey, what's important to people?
It's definitely like mob management or mob like similar like mob programming, like people can just add to the columns. I do not believe everybody is able to like create new columns or like modify those specifically. But in terms of context, yeah, Toonie, we can add like a description at the top for sure, or like some more context, like a little blurb about what this is about. That might more than just the title that's outlined.
We'll probably also want to be checking it daily to make sure we're deleting stuff if there's like
right.
If we're giving people public right access to something, yeah, we want to make sure it's like we're taking stuff down if we need to.
That's why I was actually kind of wondering, like, do we want to start by doing this as a discussion in the collaborators, like in the Node.js repo collaborators discussion?
That's like creating a discussion, doing one there, and then doing another clone of it. I don't know how much work a clone is, Darcy. But doing a different clone for one for the collaborators discussion, one for public.
Because the other approach could be more of a survey kind of thing for the broader, like, we kind of brainstormed the constituencies, we put something together that was in a reasonable shape, and then we're going out with a survey that says, hey, can you give us some feedback on this? I wonder if for the broader community, once we've gone through that cycle with hopefully more collaborators, maybe we put something together and then ask for like, hey, which one of these do you think is important? And more of and here's an open, like a free form for things that you think we've missed. Because that would kind of address the issue around like moderation and a free form board. And
I mean, I think the one thing that's nice about the freeform thing is like it'd be nice if we can just get voting on what the collaborators have put together rather than like have like these are the things we're going for. Please like give your input on those rather than like allowing extension of that, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's a feature of the site or not.
I think I would have to get a premium account. I don't know. I have to
much-
like double check.
How much is a premium account? Because I could
Like
probably-
$30 a month. It's,
Okay, yeah.
for like this product, it's not necessarily like, I don't know actually know if it's justified, but
Yeah.
but you know, potentially I can do it. Yeah, that's totally fine. I could
Because
figure it
then that would let you not have people add things, but be able to.
I don't
don't
quite know if it's got that scoping ability where it's like it's got some features, but I don't know if it has the capability of like, yeah. I don't see anything right now, even in sort of the advanced section, for you to
Mhm.
not move like even other people's cards. So you
Okay.
like, I know that Michael's being able to before, like obviously collapse and
Yep.
folks cards together, and we've been able to make edits, etc. It's
Yeah.
very collaborative that way, but that's also, you know.
Yeah, somebody could go in and delete everything, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the first question is like, you know, do we want to do a first pass with the like as a node discussion, and then figure out if we
Yeah.
want a broader, like to go even broader, right?
Yep. I mean, we can
mean-
do a different tool if we need to for like upvoting or something broader. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. Probably. Go ahead, Darcy. I interrupted you.
No. Well, we already have like 2 boards now that are essentially the exact same thing. And so like, can we just have like one that's private and one that's, or like ones that's like the inner circle and one that's like the community circle?
Yeah, I think, well, I think we had like, we created the one which we did ourselves and we have that picture, right? I guess we could have reused that one thinking about it, but since we had the picture, but I think if we just take the one of the ones that one of the 2, and we paste it into a discussion with a little bit of context would make sense.
Yep.
I think the idea was just being able to keep like a view of what we looked at to see what the extensions were. Okay.
Yeah, so I just copy and pasted the original one that we worked on that the
Okay.
community one is cloned from.
Yeah.
And just, I guess the note there is that I disabled the editing and moving of cards
Right,
since
okay.
we kind of like stopped talking about that, but we could
Yep.
reopen that up for
Why don't we just take the clone that you made and
Yeah.
put that into a node discussion, I would say.
Yep.
So if I go to node and there's discussions, and like I wonder the node discussions, I guess still anybody can get there, right?
Yeah. Anyone can get there. It's public.
Okay, so that's still going to be a fairly public, but it won't be
it's
the
less-
Twitter.
Yeah, it's less public than 600,000 people.
Yeah. So I think that's, yeah, okay. So why don't we I can start a new discussion right this minute that is basically like feedback on technical areas.
I mean, also like if we do want to do public voting, like honestly, having a discussion where we just have these items and then put thumbs, like people can thumbs up them, or like react to them in certain different ways as the thread items, and like request that people don't comment on it and stuff like that. Like that's an easy way to do it. Is like each of these individual things would be a comment in the thread or comment in the discussion, and then people can reply to the comment.
So here, I'll share my screen and so you can see what the comment here, and where this is share screen. Where's the right one? New discussion, I think. Okay, so through. I'm just going to trying to give some context. Where is that doc?
I think you are missing a word on the first sentence, just before the documented.
Through and maybe an extra word.
Yeah, also.
Yeah. Oops. I don't know how to spell broader, obviously. So can people both vote and or add to the columns?
They should be. Yeah. Should
Okay.
be able to do everything that we were able to do. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the only thing that is different about this board is, yeah, there's almost nothing. I think the maximum votes is just what's changed. And Tunia, I'm not sure if you have the ability to edit the description, but if you don't, definitely poke me if you have some language you think that would be good to put in there.
I see TBD Tierney, right?
So I don't think necessarily this is where I don't know if we need to have it in this description. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have ability to edit that, but
How big is that? If we could just make that the same
massive.
as this, then what I'm typing in this issue might make sense.
Yeah, just copy paste.
Let me double check, see if this expands. No, it's like a single line comment or
Okay.
description.
Yeah, if I can copy it from Michael and then I can send that over to you. I know you have to dip, Darcy.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
So how many votes will people have?
As many as you'd like. Right
How many do we
6.
think we should? How many do we think we should set it to?
3, maybe 3 or 5.
I think when we did it, we had 10. Was it?
Did we? Oh, yeah. Okay, then that also works. Yeah, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of items. I'd say 10.
Okay. Thumbs up for the ones you think are most.
We can also reset the votes. So like the votes were carried over from our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if we want to do that.
I think it's fine to seed it with some votes. Like that's a community building thing. Is you want to have some kind of content there to show people a path. I think that's probably a good idea.
And I guess if they're visible, well, it depends. I guess we can make the votes visible or not, right?
I mean, we can also just subtract the numbers that we added ourselves to, since we have those numbers.
The question is like, does showing the votes help in terms of getting people to do it, or does it hurt in terms of predisposing the outcome?
That's fair. I think both are probably true, and it's just we have to choose which one we want to do.
Yeah, I'd lean towards like turning the votes off, like the visibility of them, so people can actually vote, but then we don't until we actually do the next look at it. It's not visible to everybody what the numbers look like.
Okay. Darcy said he had to go.
Okay.
So we can do that. We can just have him disable that. I can ping him on that.
Okay. I guess the question is, do I post this issue or not?
Yeah, that's
until
fine.
that happens. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's okay. So yeah, if you can ping him to just say, hey, can you turn that off?
Yeah.
We'll post it here, and then if few people do it with the votes showing whatever, right? So okay, so if you see what I've typed in there, do you think that gives enough context in terms of the ask? And
yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, so I will start that discussion. Oh, category. General?
General, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Well, that's good. I'm going to grab that, put that in the minutes. If I can find where I had the minutes. Sorry. Okay, so we've done that. In terms of needs and wants of constituencies, we have agreement to launch survey. So okay, sorry, I'm just taking note. They at end of first thing in March. But for this one, I guess the question is, do we want to, discuss some of the topics a little bit more in detail now, or do we want to sort of wait till we see what that broader input is and do that the next time?
Sorry, could you restate that?
I haven't been. Oh,
sorry,
okay.
go ahead, Wes. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Wes.
Well, I was just going to ask, since I've been a little bit absent lately, so we said we were going to do the survey. We obviously will need to put together like the specific questions we want on the survey and the format. Do we think that we as a small group have anything more to add than what we have in the Jamboard until we, other than like putting together those questions? Like, I'm wondering what, like just me reading these, I'm like, yeah, this seems.
Actually, there's two different things actually. Like the survey was going to be on the needs of the constituencies. So on this, let me find that. Yeah, I mixed two things in there. So we're talking about the two things. So if I'm pasting into the chat, this is what we were going to do a survey on. We were going to basically go out and say, okay, these are the needs, and we actually written up the the survey that we were going to do. So let me find that.
Yeah, I'm way behind. This is the chart that I was like, oh, this is great. I haven't seen this yet, so thank you. Yeah.
Right. So we got that, and then where did we do that? I think I might have made the mistake I did. It was in the minutes, right? I think last time I did the same thing and said, hey, I should have created a new issue for the, maybe it's in this minutes, for the, like actually creating the survey, because it's not as visible, right? So here, if you look here, this is where we documented the survey questions. So I'm going to, just as we talk, since I said we should have done this and I didn't. Next 10, new issue, to get feedback on needs of survey questions. So I'll put that here. So right. Sorry, just taking some notes from there. Right, okay, so I just created this new issue. So I don't know, Wes, if you had a chance to look at the minutes there, but this issue I've just pasted has the questions that we put together. They're fairly short.
Yeah, they look really good. I think the second one being sort of the most important, which is just like,
yep,
check all the boxes that apply, which is great.
Launch the survey a week, the first. So yeah, so I think on that front, we've got the questions. We've talked to the foundation staff, and they've agreed we'll launch that around the 1st of March. So I don't think there's too much more that we necessarily need to do on that front. I think back to your other question, if we then flip back to the brainstorm on the key technical trends and areas, I would sort of lean towards, and we only have 22 minutes left anyway, to basically say let's wait till a future meeting to see what kind of additional input before we start to sort of form that into a list that we'll prioritize or anything like that. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Now that I'm a bit more caught up, I see, that I think we're at a pretty good place to do a survey and go way broader with this stuff, because at this point.
Yeah, it's like that survey will kind of will cover the needs, and then once we get the what I was thinking is like maybe once we get this next set of broader input, we put something together kind of like we have for that constituencies matrix, and then have a broader survey that says, hey, did we miss anything effectively, right? Versus a fun retro where we could have 50,000 people all modifying things.
So if we, well, yeah, that's a whole, but if we have both the like internal discussion thing, and we do a user survey for these, needs and wants of constituencies, I wonder how much value there is in doing another one when maybe it'd be better to just like post a presentation of the current state of the results for like general discussion. Because I think, there's a diminishing return if we just continue asking for more feedback. Like the people who've already given feedback would probably not participate in a second round because they've already spent their time doing it. Or if they do it, it'd be sort of second, just less valuable. And I feel like a write-up where we say like, okay, we spent a bunch of time doing this. You filled out the survey, the contributors to the project went and did a round of internal feedback. Like, here's where we're at. Are you good with this? We'll get a lot more people standing up and saying, oh, no, wait, you totally missed me, because they'll be like worried that we've reached the end of the process. And if they don't speak, then their voice won't be heard. That's the way I feel about it anyway. I don't know.
Like, I don't think we'd be going back like this if we did, because there's two, like the needs is that needs matrix. It's kind of like we're at that point of like, hey, make sure, help us make sure we got it right. The technical trends and stuff is kind of like a completely different question. That is, we're still at the earlier phase, sort of figuring out what should even be on the list, right? Then what I was thinking is, so go ahead.
Maybe it's because, I was just gonna say, maybe it's just because that one will change more in the long run, right? Because as new things happen in the ecosystem. So because reading it, I don't feel like it's, other than it hasn't been converted into sort of the list with the nice table and all that stuff. Like, I don't think it's drastically missing the point or behind, on its maturity as maybe I'm missing the point of what you're asking.
Well, which so let's just make sure we're talking about the same thing. Which thing are you talking about specifically? The fun retro or the?
So I was thinking the fun retro, which goes over the technical.
Right. Okay.
Where's the title of it? Sorry, let me go back.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that's the one you were talking about. It's got a bunch of things that, but I think our main concern on that one is like, that was a brainstorm from 4 people, right? So it may be pretty good, but we want to make sure we get broader input that reflects what people think.
Yeah, maybe I should take a step back and just say my concern about just doing too many surveys is that people will become rated. Like, just for feedback here, the survey that went out recently, it ate my answers and I never filled it out again. Like, just because it takes too long, right? Like, as users, filling out a survey, I don't know, we do these things at Netflix, and like the response rate is super low unless we are like really critical about why we're sending it out and very clear in our, the description. And I don't know that if we do more than one here, we're going to land them well with like a broad Twitter audience. That's my concern.
No, so fair enough. And the feedback from, some of the staff was don't do too many surveys too, right? Because people get fatigued, but it's okay. So I think we've got our next step for this one anyway. So I think it'll be like, let's see what that comes up with. Was kind of where I was going versus diving into one of the topics right now. And next time we can take a look at that and figure out our next steps. And it may or may not include a survey depending on what we think makes sense in terms of what it looks like and what we want to do. And I would say that, like, making sure that we understand what people think their needs are is, like, if we're going to only do one survey, that's probably the one that would, the broader survey, that's probably the one that would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. And that should serve slightly as the, guiding principle for what technical things we prioritize. So if the the invested technical stakeholders are giving feedback on the specific technical items,
Yep.
and then we can map those to the needs of the constituencies as, you know, self-reported by them.
Yep.
Then I think we're in a pretty good place of having collected the right user feedback from the right people, right? Because
Yep.
if we open the technical thing out to the broader community, we're going to get all sorts of wild stuff, you know, like that doesn't really.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. So yeah. I'm on. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Coming around to thinking that, like, it's that we should probably map these technical things back to that the needs and. Yep. So yep, makes sense. I think we're thinking along the same lines. So let's on that one. Let's basically, you know, in terms of today, let's park the technical trends and areas and stuff until we get that extra input. Until next meeting where we can look. Okay, so we'll do that. So that's for the key technical area brainstorms. I think we've covered that unless there's something else people want to talk about on that front today. If not, the needs and wants of constituencies, I think we touched a little bit on that already. You know, we've agreement to launch in March. Let's see, I'll say created this issue to track. So we got this issue. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag that new issue with the agenda. And I'm going to remove the other one because I think we've basically closed out the, or is it needs and wants of constituencies, right? So that one is, you know, we basically have a draft. So I'm going to close that out. Okay. So is there anything else people want to talk about that one? I think otherwise it's just sort of next step is to do that, get that survey out.
Yeah, good job everyone on this chart though. Like I feel like it's really clear, much more clear than the list was, and much more clear than the list below even is.
Yeah, thanks. I think it was a good group effort to get that into something that's kind of useful and interesting. So. Okay, so then the last thing on the issue was the next 10 years for collaborators. That we agreed to wait until a meeting where we had Mary. So that's the end of what we have on our agenda for today. And we only have 13 minutes left anyway. So is there anything that we should talk about before we close out, or should we give people back a few minutes?
Can I just ask, this is the new meeting time, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I thought so. Mary messaged me about it, and I just, like I said, I'd been disconnected, so I just looked.
Yeah, and in fact,
like, oh, cool. Okay.
It was a week earlier than it might have been because we were working to avoid like overlapping. There's some other alternating meeting, right? So yeah,
it's
we changed it to always be this time instead of multiple meetings, just because we felt that trying to push it to the middle of the Eastern time zone would get, you know, more people from the Pacific side like yourself, as well as people in Europe.
Yeah, this one worked out well, so I think it's good. I think one of the other reasons why I hadn't been coming to a couple is the new team I'm on has a standing meeting that was conflicting with half of it, and it was on call handoff, and I had to, like, I was on call, so I had to go to it. You know, but this doesn't conflict, which is good.
Okay, so. Good. Yeah, I mean, we should just continually sort of figure out if the time works for the people who are participating or not, because. Okay, any other things? If not, that's great. So thanks for everybody's time, and we will, you know, get back together in 2 weeks, and we will see what we have in terms of the extra feedback on the technical brainstorm, and potentially also look at the sort of the next 10 for collaborators, that side of things. Okay, thanks. Talk to everybody later.
Thanks, bye.